Kitco News special coverage of the Xplor convention is brought to you by Radisson Mining.
Hello, welcome to Kitco News. My name is Niels Christensen. Today, we're at the Xplor Mining Conference in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Joining me today is Olivier Grondin, Exploration Manager for Canada for Agnico Eagle. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Agnico Eagle is pretty much the biggest gold producer in Canada. You have 3 mines in Quebec. You have mines in Nunavut. You pretty much, you're active pretty much everywhere. We are in Quebec, so my first question is, what is the resource potential in Quebec? How does it compare to the rest of Canada? How does it compare to the rest of the world?
Quebec's a mining, it's a really good place to do mining. It's a great place for business, and it's been for a long time. If you look at the geology of Quebec, its geological potential is really up there. It's one of the best in the world when you're looking at gold mineralization. So we're there for the long run, really, in Quebec and Ontario, because geology doesn't know political boundaries. The same rocks that are in Quebec do cross the border into Ontario. And since the merger with Kirkland Lake Gold, we do have mines in Ontario as well. And it's the same rocks that are on the Quebec side and on the Ontario sides.
And it's the Abitibi Greenbelt is this massive formation. What is the potential in that, and how has our understanding of this belt changed? I mean, we've been mining gold there for over 100 years.
Yeah. Well, our understanding is always evolving, and I think a great example of that is the Canadian Malartic partnership, in which we are at 50% with Yamana Gold. A few years ago, right besides the Canadian Malartic open pit, we discovered a massive new gold deposit in sediments. And the sediments were always overlooked in that area. And without being too technical, that discovery triggers really a whole new potential along the Cadillac Fault because nobody explored the sediments before. So we think there's still much more gold to find in Abitibi, either in Ontario or in Quebec. And that discovery at the Odyssey project and the East Goldie deposit is really a testimony of that potential.
Well, and actually the evolution of Malartic is a good example of, like you say, of how mining in the mineralization in the belt has changed. It's one of Canada's biggest open pit gold mines. You guys are going underground. What is the mineralization potential in Malartic? I was reading, you guys want, how many decades of gold is sort of left?
Oh, geez, there's probably a few more decades in Malartic left to be mined, and I think I'm not sure of the numbers exactly, but Malartic will probably overtake Val-d'Or for total gold produced in a few years. Malartic is a massive place to find gold, and there's much more gold to find. The Odyssey mine will be in pre-production in 2023, and we're still drilling it and finding extensions both east and west of that deposit and at depth. So it's still open for expansion. So we really think the exploration potential in Malartic with that new discovery is really high, and it's high on priorities for our own exploration as well.
Is it a matter of technology changing, or is it just are there areas in Quebec that haven't been explored yet?
Well, the technology is changing. The price of gold is evolving. We're mining deposits now that we wouldn't be mining if we were 30 years back, just because price of gold's higher. We're mining also larger volume, either at Goldex or Canadian Malartic. The Odyssey mine will be the largest underground mine in Canada. So you have economies of scale when you do that type of bulk mining underground. And we're mining low-grade deposits such as Detour or Canadian Malartic. So that type of new mining is due to the price of gold in the market. but the technology in exploration is evolving as well. We're looking at technologies at Agnico like core scanning, artificial intelligence. There's a whole lot of things coming into exploration and geology now that are really interesting, and we're integrating them one by one. We're not like all integrated and fully functional yet, but there's a lot of R&D. It's a conservative industry. It's sometimes difficult to implement change, but yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the way we've been digging out gold hasn't really changed, using dynamite for the last 100 years. Is there a technology that you like? And I guess I ask this because this idea of peak gold, is it a myth? Is it real? Is it just a matter of price or technology? Is there something on the horizon that you're looking at, and your thoughts on where we are in peak gold?
Well, it's we don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what the future holds, but I don't see a specific technology that would make finding gold really easy. And I think that's part of why gold is expensive, because it's difficult to find. It's rare. So I think it's going to stay like that. Instead, what we're seeing in terms of technology is ways to improve the way we explore for gold, making it more efficient, removing human bias, for example, with the core scanning technology. So those things might make exploration a little cheaper, more successful, but will it be a revolution where it's going to be really easy to find gold? I don't think so. I don't see that yet.
What are the challenges, I guess? It feels like we have to go deeper and deeper. Is that the biggest challenge for finding these deposits now?
Well, going deep is not as much a problem as it was before. The diamond drilling contractors are getting really good at it. They're improving the machines. The machines are better to drill deep. Drilling a 2,000 meter hole used to be quite an endeavor 10, 15 years back. Nowadays, it's almost routine work. So I think going deep is more a money thing in terms of operating cost when you want to mine deep. We're getting also really good at controlling seismicity. We're used to that at Agnico Eagle with the LaRonde mine going at 3.2 kilometers depth. So we're getting really good at that. But of course, it costs more to mine deep than to mine on surface. But if I go back again to the new discovery of the East Goldie deposit at the Odyssey mine, it's not that deep and it's brand new. So yes, we need to go deeper sometimes, but there's still near surface deposits to be found in old belts like the Abitibi.
And also, just as a geologist, there's a lot of focus on precious metals in Quebec. Mm-hmm. However, we are starting to see this emergence of other critical metals, lithium, cobalt. What are your thoughts on some of this? I mean, I know obviously Agnico Eagle is a gold explorer, but what are you finding in your exploration? What's the mineral overall potential in Quebec, do you think?
Oh man, it's the geology is good in Quebec for multiple commodities. Of course, we focus on gold with a minor portion of base metals. LaRonde Mine is a base metal deposit with a lot of gold. That's what it is, basically. And we've been mining zinc and silver at LaRonde for a long time. But yeah, Quebec's a good place to find those other metals as well, like lithium. There's a plethora of lithium deposits in Quebec. And again, it's a market question. Is the market favorable to put those deposits in production? But yeah, there's no lack of good places to look for.
Do you think the importance of critical metals sort of overtakes the gold industry in Quebec at some point?
We don't see it now, and it's going to be reflected in the price of gold eventually. If people judge that, okay, we need to move into critical metals, I think the price of gold will evolve in a non-favorable direction, but we're definitely not there yet.
How does Quebec compare to the rest of Canada? Where would you, if you had a crystal ball, where would you want to explore next for Agnico Eagle?
I'd like to explore everywhere because I'm a geologist and I'm an explorationist. So I'm very curious, and I think geologists are curious by nature. So I'd like to explore anywhere. But yeah, if you look at Quebec, we have a lot of medium to high grade, narrow type lode gold deposits.
Because there's actually more than just the Abitibi Greenbelt. There's also Cadillac, is that all part of it?
Yeah, that's all part of it, and that's where we're focusing historically. You have the Cadillac Laurel Lake Break. A little up north, you have the Porcupine Destor Fault, which hosts the Timmins Camp, and it's the biggest camp in Abitibi by far. There's a lot of gold right in that area, and those deposits, like I was saying, were higher grade. If you look at Western Canada, and I generalize here, you have more those big, low-grade copper gold porphyry deposits, which are in the mountains, have their own challenges in terms of capex. But then again, in BC, you also have epithermal deposits, which are high grade and really close to those porphyry deposits. And if you look at Quebec, I was talking about high-grade deposits, but we also own Detour and Canadian Malartic, which are large open-pit, low-grade mines. So, it's a mix of both, and you need to find what you want as a project, either in Western Canada or in Eastern Canada, and I include Quebec and Ontario together.
You spent a lot of time talking about Canadian Malartic. Obviously, it's one of the biggest mines in Quebec, but you also have La Ronde, you also have Gold X. I was reading some reports you want to expand those to 2039. What's the mineralization there? How is exploration forming in these other two mines in Quebec?
Yeah, if we look at Gold X, it's going a little deeper, and we have the south zones that are being explored as we speak. There's underground drilling ongoing. So we hope to expand Gold X and extend the mine life quite a bit. At La Ronde, this year, we started 3 underground drifts going west under the old Bousquet mine, just to explore the same rock package as La Ronde, but at greater depth, which hasn't been done under Bousquet quite a bit. So we're putting a lot of efforts into extending the mine lives of both La Ronde and Gold X, and there's still a lot of room to explore, because when you're at 3-kilometer depth and Bousquet has been to, I don't know, maybe 1,000 meters, there's still 2 kilometers of favorable rock to explore. So we're going westward at La Ronde with great hopes of extending the mineralization. And there's the satellite deposit at La Ronde called LZ5, which is a fully automated underground mine accessible by a ramp. And we're extending that at depth and extending the mine life of that deposit as well. So it's going great for those mines in Quebec.
So what other project are you excited to explore further? Detour, your Nunavut projects, Hope Bay. What's on your list for this year?
There's so many. There's so many to cover. It's quite an extensive portfolio. But at Detour, it's just the size of it that's incredible. We keep drilling a lot at Detour, and just last year or this year we've added 10 million ounces of resource at Detour. It's a lot of ounces. But right now in our Canadian portfolio, Hope Bay takes a lot of place in terms of drilling budget because it's an operation that was stopped by Kirkland Lake by TMAC right before COVID, and we haven't restarted it. What we need to do at Hope Bay is find more gold and have that critical mass of mineralization to mine in Nunavut at Hope Bay. So we're drilling a lot at Hope Bay to find more mineralization, increase the resource base, the reserves base, until we reach that threshold.
I guess how many meters do you drill a year? How much? Because Agnico has always been fairly busy. What's your drill program like?
Oh, geez, it's over 1 million meters this year, and about $350 million US globally. Of course, a good portion of that goes into underground development, so that's more expensive than drilling, obviously. But yeah, it's about 350 million.
So do you think you can get critical mass at Hope Bay?
Yes, the potential is there. It's a great greenstone belt, very similar to Meliadine or to the Abitibi greenstone belt. It's high grade, so it has the right ingredients to make a profitable mine in Nunavut, just like Meliadine, really.
Olivier, thank you very much for your time. It's fascinating to talk about mineralization in Quebec and Canada. So I thank you very much for your thoughts here.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for watching Kitco News. Stay tuned for more coverage from the Xplor Mining Conference in Montreal, Quebec.
Kitco News special coverage of the Xplor Convention is brought to you by Radisson Mining.